Hey everyone, welcome to a show that we call the Deciding Factor Podcast. I'm your host, John.
And I'm Alton.
And I'm Barb. I'm here live and in person in Texas.
What?
It's so much fun.
You look like a hologram.
You got in midday the other day, and we have just been trying to do way too much, and we got to stop. You need to leave sooner.
That's not nice.
No? Oh,
I haven't had brisket yet. I'm not going anywhere until I get brisket doctor.
So, if you are new to our podcast, Alton will explain what we are all about.
What are we all about? Well, if you don't like to think for yourself, then just turn it off, because we're all about that independent thinking. We're about formulating ideas and learning new things. So how we do the podcast is we cover a topic maybe too extensively and then make a decision on how we're going to look at that topic for at least the time being and formulate opinions, lots of opinions on the show, lots of inside jokes. So it's 100% likely that if you haven't listened to too many shows, we're going to laugh at some things that you're unfamiliar with, but that's okay. Hang in there with us. You'll get it. You'll get it. I mean, I got hypnotized today on live YouTube. I mean, it was crazy. Well, that's another show, not this show. This show's about accountability partners.
So that being said, Barb, how can you hold the listeners accountable to staying in touch with us?
Look at my nose. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and especially YouTube. And you have to hit the little bell button, because if you hit the little bell button, then every single time we do something amazing, you'll get another of those beeping sounds, and you'll get to watch us. Like today, when Alton was surprised by a hypnotist, and
yeah, and you and I were surprised when John went live, and we weren't even ready.
Exactly. So
we didn't even know
all the things that you're missing, all the jokes that we're laughing about now. You could be laughing with us had you already clicked the bell and subscribed. Boop. Boop.
So today's show is how do I choose my accountability partner? We go into different depths in this topic. So stay tuned, because you definitely need an accountability partner. So stay tuned, learn why and how. Guys, this is the Deciding Factor Podcast.
Everyday life issues broken down to help you build your own opinions on the issues that matter most. Coming to you from Austin, Texas, this is the Deciding Factor with your host, Alton Hill and John Herzog.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Deciding Factor Podcast. So, like we talked about in the intro, we are going to talk about accountability partners. When should you have them? Why should you have them? Some of the things that we've experienced in our lifetime, whether it's good or bad, we're going to talk about them. And let's start with, what are some of the places in which you have found an accountability partner?
For me, I have a story when I was, I guess it was in high school. So I grew up listening to a lot of gangster rap. It's true. I'm just a dorky white dude, but I like rap, so Ice Cube, Busta Rhymes, lots of cussing. And, I kind of said, hey, trying to follow Jesus here. And so probably shouldn't be running around cussing like a gangster, but but it's like a hard thing to control your tongue, whatever it is, if it's a cuss word or just whatever. It's a hard thing to do. And I found that I really struggled to watch my mouth. So for me, found that in order to help curb the cussing, I had to get all my friends to just start punching me every time I said a cuss word. So,
like in your face, punch you in your face?
Nah, I was like, how about the arm? And then like I could tell that, sometimes they were a little reluctant. So they just kind of, oh, here you go. And I'm like, dude, that is not going to work. That is not helping curb my appetite for the cussing. So I found, corporal enforcement helped me. And I had like all of my friends everywhere. The real friends, they'd punch me.
Real friends hit you in the arm.
Mm-hmm. So real friends, do you have anybody that's been an accountability?
Punching me in the arm?
No.
Yeah. Okay. So we were talking about this last night. I haven't eaten like normal real food since the last time that I was in Texas. I started doing a weird diet thing, which is its own story. But I had a friend that decided to join me, do it with me. And so she's become my accountability partner. Ooh, now I can hear myself.
Yes. We couldn't hear you.
Nobody could hear me?
It's better now.
None of that? Okay. It was brilliant. I can't repeat it. Anyway, the point is, I do. I have an accountability partner right now. And I think it's nice to have someone that is experiencing the same thing as you. I mean, it can be kind of fun. And so it also means that when the food that we're eating tastes like cardboard, we can be like, hey, have you thought about waffling your cardboard? It might taste better that way. They say that if you put it in a different shape, it tastes different. So yeah, I do have someone actually in my life right now. And that was somewhat accidental.
So that's kind of interesting because I think I emphasized the accountability part and you emphasized the partner part, right?
Yeah, actually, that's true.
Yeah. See what I did there? Onomatopoeia.
So
double entendre.
Spell it and I'll be impressed.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's true though. I think that I didn't ask for my partner so much. It was more like, hey, you got skinnier. I want to do a thing. And so we end up doing it together. So you're right. I wasn't so much saying, don't let me eat food that doesn't taste like cardboard. It was more just walking the road together.
Cool. So what about you, John?
So there's somebody that I know who has helped me out.
It's very handsome, I bet.
Probably a little hairier too.
Yes.
But, we actually did a podcast together and it was about negotiations. And it was with a job that I ended up getting a little while back. And, you held my foot to the fire. You said, John, we did a podcast about negotiation. You have to ask because that was the biggest thing we stressed. I wasn't going to ask the question whether it was going to do any good or not. But you forced me basically
Definitely
to ask because it was headbutt or ask the question. So I chose the nonviolent part and went with the question.
Unfortunately.
So, yeah.
Less fun for everybody.
Yeah. And then you've done similar since then, as far as encouraging me to ask or do other things that I really needed to that had great potential with very little risk. So,
okay, but I have a question about that because what both of you are describing, like, you're not saying that you asked for him to keep you accountable on that. He was just like, don't be dumb. I'm going to beat you up if you don't do this. Like, is that
so? Most of the time, he really does straight up say, John, I really think you need to do this.
Or I'm going to throat punch you.
Or
no pressure.
Or there was one time it was like I had already talked to him about the issue. And so knowing that I was talking to him in regards to it, it was like I was indirectly asking him for his opinion, in which he gave me. And then unfortunately I listened again, but it's fine. Everything has worked good, luckily so far. So I'm doing pretty good. One thing that we saw and discussed when we were getting ready for the show is if you want to reach a goal, if you out loud say you want to accomplish this goal with a friend or a coach or, an accountability partner, you're 65% to actually accomplish that goal. But if you constantly check in with that accountability partner or friend, then you are 95% likely to accomplish that goal. So after hearing that statistic that we went over, what came to your mind?
The statistics are hysterical. Actually, no, what came to my mind is what makes it different having a person do that for you versus like a star chart. Couldn't I, in theory, like set up on the wall, like, okay, we'll pick a goal. I'm going to use 2 paper towels a day. I don't know why you'd set that goal, but it came to mind. So
Saving the trees.
Saving the trees. Okay. What is it that is different about an accountability partner versus any other kind of goal organization? I mean, we've talked about lists. We've talked about organizational stuff all the time. What makes it different? Like, why would you go the extra step?
I think it's the failure aspect, right? So like if I didn't ask the question, either one, I was getting throat punched, like you said, or I think you have this sense of pride, right? So
it's like
you
shame.
feel like I feel like a loser if I don't do what I know I should do and what he's asked and pushed me and guided me to. It's like the weight loss stuff, right? If you were to come back and say, oh, I quit, they're going to be like, oh, really? Why? Like,
see, I feel like it's a big thing to be somebody's accountability partner because I'm trying to picture, like, I'm thinking about the gal that's doing the weight loss with me. And if she came to me and was like, hey, I get to go to Texas and do podcasts, I'd be like, dude, eat the brisket. You know, like, I don't feel like
I'm going to eat the brisket.
I don't feel like it'd be very good. Like, that's a responsibility.
40 minutes.
To hold somebody accountable, you're really committing to being unpleasant in their lives. Right?
I don't know.
Their good, but
so
I live there.
Unpleasant.
Yeah.
For good.
I'm that person.
Yeah. Does it?
You're constantly trying to avoid me, though. So your question about the accountability.
I'm not the only one.
So you had the question about, did you ask that person to be your accountability partner? I think a lot of the times it turns out, to me, it seems like it's just your friends really trying to give you this motivation. So in some of our talks that we've had on the podcast, it's led to conversations about Alton's company. And there's certain areas that I think I excel at. And there's certain areas he excels at. And one of mine is business growth and efficiencies. And you've said some things, and what?
No, go ahead. I'm listening.
No, you're not. So he said some things, and I'm like, Alton, you should really maybe get somebody to help you in that. Your problem is delegation, is what it sounds like. Which I think you've also been talking to a coach that ended up telling you the same thing. Is that right?
Well, yeah.
She's giggly over here today. Maybe we should have hypnotized her.
Oh, I should have. I really am kind of bummed I missed out on that.
But I mean, you've never asked for my opinion. I did kind of encourage you or give it. But it worked out because you got a great worker that now is on your team, and it sounds like you'd like to increase it now.
I would say that you have definitely helped me in my business. I don't know if I would brand you as an accountability partner there. Exactly. I would think of that more as like a friend who's helping, which is, and maybe that's a distinction we can make, because it's like the difference between someone asking for the help versus like seeing something in their life and be like, I'm going to hold them accountable for that because I think that they need that. And based on my experience, this could really help. Right. Which is different if you're trying to lose weight and you're looking for someone to walk down that road with you, that may be a pleasant partner to have. But if it's just like, hey, Barbara, what did you eat today?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
it could be different.
It worked out for you guys, I think, because you are friends. But in general, I think if you were just to come up, okay, I had someone do this last week, someone that I don't even know terribly well, that was like, you know what? You need a side hustle. I don't think you're doing enough. You should probably, if you were a better wife, you would support your husband by bringing in money. Right. And totally. I just remember thinking like he had experience it's not like he was saying something that was inherently bad or wrong. It was, to me, it came across as a really clueless thing because I wasn't asking for someone to set me up with a side business. You know what I mean? So that's where it seems like there's got to be accountability. To me implies the ask.
But is it really? Because like, let's go back to my example of when I got a job, you held me to the fire on asking for more money. And so you wouldn't consider that an accountability friend? Partner.
I think, and when we were talking about this in the start of the show, it's like when you have a goal that you're trying to reach and you're struggling to reach that goal and something keeps keeps missing, then you can leverage this person, whatever, to like, hey, we're going to walk together, or you're going to be more of like a mentor or like a coach. And so I think that, and like we've talked about in several podcasts, there's a lot of different ways. I could make a list. We could hang it up on a vision board or something, right? So I think that if it's unsolicited, it's potentially less effective. I think that because we're friends, there's just kind of, there's almost like this understood, like, oh yeah, but if I see you blowing it, I'm going to hold you accountable as like, sorry, that's just part of the friend package with me. Right. Which I think looks like an accountability partner, but maybe doesn't work for everyone's relationships.
I feel like if it's a friendship, then at some point the accountability part might have to drop so that you can be the friend. Whereas I think if I'm asking someone to keep me accountable on something, I feel like I'm asking them not to let it drop. Like, don't ever have the day that you just let me, cry about not getting paid enough because I didn't negotiate, or you know what I mean? Like, an accountability partner is going to sit there and brainstorm with you. Like, no, we said we were going to do this. Like, how are we going to do this? And I feel like there are times that in a friendship, it's okay to meddle in your friend's life and be like, you really ought to do that thing. And there's other times that it's okay to just to be present.
So then what about the when should I or you have one?
Again, if you're going for...
Does it just fall into place?
Well, I don't think so. I think like you have to be... I'm going to pick another random goal that doesn't have to do with paper towels, okay? Let's suppose that I want to learn how to walk in stiletto heels. I'm just going to pick something right.
I got you.
Yeah, okay. I think that if I'm going to get an accountability partner to stick with me with learning to walk in stiletto heels, it means that I'm inviting pain, not just because of the shoes, but because someone's going to have to critique how I walk and how I stand and probably how I put on shoes. Like, I think that if you're not in a place where you're terribly inclined to have things about your person chipped away at, then you're not in a good place to have an accountability partner, and you'll probably just kill a relationship.
Speaking of Klein, I think Glenn Klein would have been a good accountability partner for you, right? So what about your thoughts, Alton? When should you have one?
Well, for me, there's just been times where, sometimes we're motivated to reach our goals, right? Like whatever it is, I'm going to get married. I'm going to, want to look good in my wedding dress, so I'll lose a few pounds or whatever. We're just motivated to get something done, and the motivation will carry us through that growth. But then there's some things that we just either don't have the expertise on how to do. Like I remember at one point I wanted to lose weight and I didn't know how to lose weight. So I had to figure it all out. I just didn't have the expertise. It wasn't that I didn't have the motivation or anything. I just didn't know. And then there was another time where I didn't know how to gain weight. So I had to go find the expertise for that. So, I think that you can use an accountability partner to help you educate, right? So I think that's kind of what you and I did of, you might have been motivated to make more money, but you didn't really know. And then we talked about, oh yeah, I just got to ask. And then you needed this next layer, right? And the kind of like with me in business growth, it's like, dude, you just got to hire. I don't care what you're saying and what your excuse is, just go hire. And I'm sending you people to hire. Okay. So then I hired somebody and yeah, it's great. But then you have the next level of like, once you kind of figure it out, it's doing it, even when it's uncomfortable or you might not want to, right? So you want to eat the 7 brisket tacos or, you know, it's like, oh yeah, this is the spot where I'm supposed to ask for more money, but I'm kind of chicken right now. And so then you lean on that accountability partner for that extra oomph, you know, like just having someone know that it's possible that I could ask for more money. And if I don't, maybe like there's this pride or disappointment. Like I don't want to disappoint John, so I have to do it, you know, and just like leveraging those feelings that we have.
So have either of y'all had an instance where having an accountability partner actually failed drastically?
Drastically?
Okay. If it's failed, period.
I've definitely had, I'm trying to think how to not name names.
Beep told me to.
Yeah, there's the beeper. Just push a button over there.
Yeah. Okay. No, but with the weight loss thing, which I'm really hoping that now people that have been listening to the podcast and have been watching are aware that I've been doing this, because otherwise this is really random. But I lost a bunch of weight.
AKA I got sexier.
Didn't give me any.
Hardcore. And I did not give
you nothing.
By the way, I really want to know who you go to find out how to gain weight. Like you just follow fat people around and just be like, hey, what do you do?
I can be your accountability partner right here, Ruby.
I actually paid money.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Not to either of us, because I feel like we could have helped you. Like brisket,
I
man.
really could have helped you. Yeah, we're about to add to it, and I paid money so you could get fat.
I paid $90 for a hard gainer program.
Wow.
That could be its own show.
It
Anyway,
worked.
The health coach thing is supposed to be a lot of people do Weight Watchers, right? That's a kind of accountability where you're going to go and you're going to stand on a scale in front of people. And personally, my experience with a health coach has not been fantastic because it's annoying to me. I don't like being asked every single week, like, how is your weigh-in? Tell me about all the victories you had this week. I'm like, when I have a victory, I'm going to tell it to you guys. I'm going to tell it to, like, whether you care or not. It feels so false to me to have someone they are officially my health coach and they're supposed to be motivating me, but it's like, I am motivated. I don't need my hand held, right? And like, if I'm going to celebrate, I know how to celebrate. I'll go shopping for smaller clothes. That was easy. So I think that part of it is because the program I went through, they kind of assign you a coach. I would have loved to have done it without a coach. Not because she's not good. I mean, she's great. It's just not a way that I particularly thrive.
But it seemed like maybe part of that accountability for you was like the education or like the technique on how to.
It's pretty much just buying the weird tasting bars.
Well, I'm just saying though, right? But like, that was, you were looking for help and it wasn't the person, but the program.
So she could have given me like probably a weekend crash course in how to weigh spinach and it would have been fine and not have to do the check-ins all the time.
So what about you, Alton? Have you had any fails? Because me personally, when it comes to accountability partners, I really haven't ever had many examples of it. So I don't have any examples of a failure. I
mean, I guess we haven't really totally, picked every single scenario, but like I'm thinking about someone who their personality didn't go well with me. And so I've had some, and maybe I don't think that this is just me. I think some people will respond to like the negative, the criticism. Okay. I think that may work for some people, but for me, I don't need more negativity in my life. I don't need you to be like, Alton, you're so skinny, man. You're never going to put on muscle. You suck. Like, it just doesn't resonate with me to like, oh, now I need to go like eat all the food because I'm going to prove John wrong. Like Eminem talks about that. That's like huge fuel for him, is people telling him that he can't do it and that he's bad and whatever. He just like feeds off of that. I don't. And in the times where I've been around, these coaches, these people who are trying to help me and trying to hold me accountable, and then they're like, man, Alton, you really suck. I'm just like, I don't need that.
I'm paying you what?
So I think in that scenario where it just wasn't a good personality fit, and maybe that's how they were raised and that's really helpful for them. I mean, that's cool. But for me, I'm just like thinking about how to strangle them. So maybe that's good for my jiu-jitsu.
It does lead to a question that I have had, though, that makes me hesitant to ask someone to be accountable to me. How do you get rid of an accountability partner? I mean, maybe it's a personality that you don't click with, or maybe you're not really wanting to, maybe you're in a goal setting season and you meet your goal, but how do you stop that? How do you flip the switch and be like, can you just go back to being a person now?
Stop hitting me.
Seriously, the throat punches are getting old. And I don't know how to.
Well, you could fake your own death.
Okay.
Or
step one,
block their phone numbers.
Okay.
Or I guess change to a different school if they keep punching you.
Okay. Well, as long as there's a plan.
Yeah.
I just like to know there's an exit.
I mean, I think it should be hard to get out. I mean, if you're failing in your goals, I mean, I think that's part of the point is that, I mean, yeah, maybe there should be a way out, but it shouldn't be easy.
Okay. Should be a penalty, like a throat punch.
At least.
So you need a safe word. That's what we got to come up with.
That's what I'm coming down to. Is like, because you're right with accountability.
Brussels sprouts.
Like, no.
I mean, because here's the thing. I think that people are motivated by pain or pleasure. Like generally, if we want to put into two buckets. And so I think that there's that the accountability partner, I think, is a lot of times the pain motivator more than the pleasure.
Okay.
It's like that reminder, like, oh, there's going to be some pain associated with me not doing this. So if the pleasure motivator isn't working, then like I can fall back onto this, cattle prod to keep me going.
Okay. You know what? That makes sense too. Actually, it's right.
The goads.
All right. So today's question for our deciding factor is going to be, how do I choose an accountability partner? So let's get to it.
Now it's time for our deciding factor.
Okay. So I guess we'll go first again. So when I think about accountability partners,
I like doing this in person. Sorry to interrupt, John.
So much more fun.
I can just pull John's leg hair right here in the middle of his deciding factor.
I should wear pants next time.
In general, yeah.
Maybe we all should have. Just kidding, Heather. I have pants on. I promise.
Speak for yourself. We're having fun over here. No, so accountability partners. So to me, I do not think accountability partners are paid. I think that's more of a life coach at that point, is my opinion. I honestly think that accountability partners actually should be called accountability friends, because I really think it's your close friends that will push you and know when to help you. Just not during the middle of the podcast.
Oh, I thought we were proving our friendship. Sorry.
I would not say that I do agree with your statement about whether it's asked or not. Because I think it's when someone catches you, that knows you, that has been around you long enough to know that you need a specific motivation. So let's go back to your weight loss, right?
We do seem to hang out there a lot. Yeah.
We're very proud of you.
Thank you.
But I mean, if I were to know you were having health issues and losing weight was a way to help you, I'm going to try to push you more. Like we talked about the other day, you want
encourage.
You're at a certain pant size.
Yeah.
and you asked me the question.
Like,
I
how
don't
do you know when to stop? Yeah.
Right. So I gave you an opinion. Whether you agreed with it or not, it's still an accountability partner. So next month, I'm going to check and see what size you're at now.
But see, isn't that the thing? Like already, it just broke down for me because I'm like, I didn't agree with the size that you picked. Like,
no.
So I can be
but
like,
you obviously want to
make
get
yourself a size 4.
But I mean, the point is you want to be smaller, but when do you cut it off?
Yeah.
Can't stop.
We'll still have more conversations about it.
Probably.
I am going to be encouraging you to meet whatever goal you end up.
It wasn't for health reasons, for the record. I just wanted to be skinnier. But okay.
You wanted all the guys to love you. I get it. You wanted more
How
comments.
hard is that, right?
You wanted more comments from the listeners.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
And texts.
And text.
And photos.
Okay.
So my opinion is you don't really choose them most of the time. I think it has been chosen by the people you become friends with. Because I have had acquaintances that will never be accountability partners or friends, just because we're not on that level. Whereas the two of you, we're pretty close. We spend a lot more time together. I would take it one step further. Can your spouse be your accountability partner? So that would be my 2 cents.
I'm going to say yes, because I think
Yes. The question was, how do you choose one?
Yes.
Yes.
no, your question was, can your spouse be your accountability partner? I'm going to say yes. That's what I was going to say. Okay. What you're describing though to me is trust. So how do I choose an accountability partner? I choose someone that I trust enough to have them know the worst about me, because that's really what you're asking. Is you're asking for someone to call you out, someone to be, the rock in the hard place for you, right? So I feel like that has to be someone that you are willing to admit your failure to, because otherwise you don't get anywhere. There's no point in having an accountability partner if you're both going to be like, we're doing great today, aren't we?
Hand me the next bucket of ice cream, please.
That's right. Brisket. I'm trying to think though, does it need to be your closest friends? You need relationship for sure. I don't know that it has to be someone that you have an existing friendship with.
Well, you use the example about the person you're doing weight loss with.
Yep, that's what I'm thinking about. She's a very good friend of mine, has been for years. But I can also think of people in this program that have had that same kind of dynamic with their health coach in the program. And
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So for me, not so much, because what I need in a accountability partner in weight loss, and I tried to tell my coach this, I don't think she understood. I need to be allowed to make fun of it through the entire thing. I need to be allowed to not to complain about it, but to mock that the whole thing, like it's a mildly lemon flavored soy explosion that gets stuck in your throat on the way down. Doesn't mean I'm not going to do it, but I do better if I can make fun of things as I go. Right. And so for me, having a friend doing that with me, to crack jokes about waffling, I hate it being used as a verb. Anyway, that's useful to me. But I think that, it has to be someone that you either decide to trust because of their qualifications, right? Like a health coach or something, or someone that you've built trust with, because you're inviting pain if you're inviting accountability. So how do you choose? I guess you choose people that you're okay with being in pain with from throat
do you
punches.
Physically ask them, hey, you going to be my partner?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you do. I think otherwise that puts your relationship in a weird no man's zone if you don't. Like if I actually wanted you to make sure that I get to a size 4 in jeans and I don't actually ask you, you're going to sound like a jerk. You're going to get sued. You know what I mean? Like, why are you checking their waistband? That's weird. So I feel like you have to communicate enough. Well, if I was wearing pants, you could do that now. But
Heather, I'm wearing pants, I swear.
He has been known to lie. Just remember.
I think you have to ask. I think it has to be said out loud if that's what you want out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely going to be more effective if you're like, I mean, some of us are kind of dense. So if you're not telling me like you need to do this, then maybe not. Unless it's something that you just naturally are doing, right? Like in our example of talking about negotiating things and salaries and such, it's like you can probably plan that I'm going to do that for you. Yeah, I got a lot of things bouncing around in my brain. I drew a little Venn diagram here because I feel like we've been talking about like, oh, this is an accountability partner, but this isn't. And you have to be a friend. And I don't know about all that. But I will say that.
Why do you have pants written down on your notepad?
You're going to edit this out, right?
Maybe. Yeah.
So, like one of the things that I don't think we talked about in the show that we talked about in the show prep, pre-show, show before the show was AA and how important an Alcohol Anonymous or like people in drug recovery, they use that accountability system. And it's because the will is there and they're training them on like educating them. This is how you do it. It's day by day or whatever. And then they attach you with someone who's successfully gone through the program. So I think that that's something that you should definitely consider when you're thinking about someone to hold you accountable. If I'm trying to lose weight, if someone's 150 pounds overweight, they may not be the best accountability partner for me. Now, someone who was 150 pounds overweight and has lost the weight may be a better suited, you know, and like in our case, it's like I've negotiated a lot of salaries. And so that can kind of give, in that scenario, it can give John the confidence of like, no, it's worked for him. So yes, I can do it. This is going to work. And I think that that's a little more inspirational when you get into that place of pain and discomfort of like, oh, I don't really want to do this because it hurts, or I don't want to, you know, it's like, no, it did work. It can work. It's going to work for me. And this person's done it. So if they're telling me to stick to it, I can have more confidence in that like voice in your head to help you continue to go. So yeah, so I'm a big believer of using mentors and people who have already gone down that path, and that is the best people to be an accountability partner for you.
So you actually are okay with the spending money side of it?
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about a lot of different things, right? From your health to your finances and whether or not your spouse can be your accountability partner. I mean, some things you can get for free, but some things that are really valuable, you have to pay for. I mean, it's, and I'm okay with that. And I don't think that means that, now all of a sudden it's not effective. It could mean that, you know, and depending on what the goal is, you know, but we pay for a preacher to preach to us on Sunday, don't we? I mean, does that mean that he doesn't mean it because we paid him? It's like, no, he's got to eat. So yeah, I think it's fine to pay people. And I think that, I mean, people pay me to do their marketing all the time. It doesn't mean that I don't care about them or their business or their kids or whatever. Like, I'm all in, but they're still paying me. I have to eat. So, yeah.
All right, guys. Well, just remember, we have a podcast, so that makes us experts in this. So make sure you follow what we say exactly. But no, really, like the title of our show, it's the Deciding Factor Podcast, which means you've heard our decisions. Think about the conversation and come up with your own decision on it.
Are we allowed to tell people to think these days?
We hope you think.
Is that outlawed yet?
just do it quietly. Just do it in your own head.
All right, guys. Make sure you follow us on social media and also add us to YouTube if you haven't already, because you could be missing out on some live events that we do, which also means you can see the behind the scenes, which means if you would have seen this on the pre-show or prior to us really launching the show, you might know whether we have pants on or not.
Are we live right now?
Maybe. So make sure you subscribe to our channel. That way you can catch these when they air. And like always, thank you all for joining. Barb's in town, so we're going to do a few more podcasts.
And eat brisket.
And eat brisket.
And eat brisket. I think we're about 10 minutes away from it. So,
Oh, they're there.
Brisket time.
Valentina's, shout out to you. And also our Texas True Blue coffee, which everybody got to drink today. And you liked it, didn't you?
Yeah, I liked it. It's gone now.
It's gone?
Went to a happy place.
Well, you got the bag over there, so we can brew some more. All right, guys. We will see y'all next time on the Deciding Factor podcast. We appreciate your comments, and we'll see you next time. Guys, say bye.
Later.
Bye.
This has been another episode of The Deciding Factor, giving you food for thought on real life issues. Be sure to click, like, and subscribe to this podcast, as well as all your big social media outlets, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Don't forget to check out our website at thedecidingfactorpodcast.com and give us comments and feedback. Until next time, stay safe and remember to keep an open mind.